On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I don't know how things are going to turn out or play out, but this dude's definitely doing some weird shenanigans, trying to keep anybody from being able to talk about this. This doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't smell good. This definitely sounds to be, well, it sounds treasonous. I don't know. We'll see what actually comes out. There's investigations going on and a whole lot of other stuff. I want to remind you guys, too, as far as live music this Friday, we'll be doing REM this week. I'm going to do a compilation the following week. I don't know if it's going to be 70s or just kind of softer songs. I don't know. I got a couple songs that are inspiring it. Maybe one in particular I can share with you guys because it keeps popping up, and I've literally searched it like 5 times. And I'm like, geez, it's the same song every freaking time. But it is the, yeah, here it is. Hang on, I'm sucking. Ride Like the Wind, Christopher Cross. Yeah, anyway, that song is inspiring a whole slew of songs. That's the following week, but this coming week, REM. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got a lot of great music pulled together. Some of you may not realize how many songs of theirs you know, but they are a great band from the, 80s and 90s-ish, around there, probably 90s more. Anyway, good stuff. We'll be playing that this weekend. All said and done, let's get going and start rocking and rolling into this experience. I wanted to start off here. Powerful, and this is how so many people feel. This is not unique to one individual, and it's certainly not unique to anybody that's on the Democrat side, but there are a lot of people on the Democrat side that are feeling this way. We are in a transition, folks. The world is changing, and it's fun to imagine what it could be like if more of us got along again. Can you remember how long it's been? I'm thinking the 80s maybe early 90s, and it seems like things started to me going off the rails around there. It could have started sooner, and I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Curious what you guys think. Throw that in the comments. Also, make sure you do a thumbs up. Helps the channel enormously, especially if you get it early on in the video. Right off the bat, they're like, oh, the people like this? Let's show this to more people. It's a good way to help the channel without spending a dime, so I appreciate all of you. And here is, again, something that's probably more common than we realize.
Pays 6 jobs for 3 people just to survive in Biden's economy.
Why am I crying over the Republican National Convention? Like, what the frick is going on?
It's upsetting. It's upsetting to see
this world that we're living in right now.
To help immigrants
Hold on, let me pause this.
illegally while
Woo, this world that we're living in right now feels like upside down land. I've been a Democrat for nearly 50 years. Why am I crying over the Republican National Convention? Like, Amber Rose did a beautiful job. Oh, she did a beautiful job. I'm so proud of her. And then all the diversity and just, I think I'm crying because it's cognitive dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance. Like, what is going on? I've been told my whole life Republicans are just all, white and racist men and all of this. I don't think I've probably ever watched a Republican National Convention. Let's start there. You don't know unless you go see for yourself and stop listening to what people tell you. It's just so beautiful. Just the patriotism, the coming together. I'm telling you, if you on the outside and you think MAGA is this horrible thing, I don't know what to tell you besides you have to see for yourself. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. The coming together of America. America saying no more, no longer. We're not going to do this. We're not going to divide ourselves. We are red, white, and blue. It's beautiful. Okay, I got to finish watching. Bye-bye.
And there's room in this camp for everybody. Everybody. And that's the important thing for all of us to remember. We've got to remember that there are no Americans left behind. There are no Americans left behind. Amber Rose put this out as she's apparently being attacked by Joanne Reed, the super ultra racist chick. I think it's MSNBC that she's on. Well, Amber Rose decided to hit back at her a little bit, I guess, for the attacks. She said, "Hi, at Joanne Reed. I've never said I wasn't black, and I said I identify as biracial. I'm not going to invalid my white father to make you feel more comfortable. Stop being a race baiter. Your president does enough race baiting for all of us. Powerful words. Here's someone that did a cool little graphic, well, call it cool, but that shows how Trump was going to get hit for sure and how the timing of this was perfect.
Take a look what happened.
Now, there's discussion, and I'm not saying it's not true. I don't know. I haven't seen anything yet on it, but there is discussion of a second shooter. They usually mention things like this, but again, could likely be true. I think with Kennedy, it definitely was. I think there was probably more than 2 shooters for that matter. But there's suggestion, I believe it's on the water tower that someone is telling me. All said, yeah, I don't think this dude on the roof, this 20-year-old, would have been capable of pulling off this many shots. This is, there's some professionalism in here, or somebody that really knew what they were doing. Just to be able to pull off that many shots with reasonable accuracy. Well, I don't know. The first shot or 2 maybe were the accurate ones, and I think they started to fail after that. Not trying to, I don't know, poke fun, if you will, but this is kind of a good little something people put together, just showing and kind of inspiring and getting us to rally behind Trump and what he's been through, and I thought it was pretty well done. Check this out. Not at all. There's a lot of cuss words in this, but I think it's powerful. And again, I love hearing from our darker-skinned friends, be it black-colored skin or even our brown-colored friends, all of them. I love hearing from them. I think it's powerful when we get these statements. And he's right. Trump, if you want some real badassery, making sure your protective detail is solid, this guy's advice might actually work.
Say President Trump, my president, the United States president. You know who I'm talking to. This can even go to Trump Jr. Hey, if you're going to continue to do these debates in these states or in these little cities, and you want some proper protection, this is just a suggestion. This is just my opinion, bro. Because you have a lot of people out there that love you. A lot, right? And it's obvious that the CIA and all these alphabet agencies don't like you. They don't want nothing to do with you. They don't want to protect you. They don't want nothing. So here's my suggestion to you, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, even Trump Jr., if you get this to your father, huh? Go to the hood. Go get you about 30 to 40, maybe 50 of them ghetto-ass motherfuckers, excuse my French, I don't care if they white, black, right? And on the day before, you give them mugs a particular color to wear to protect you. I promise you, that won't ever happen again. Now listen to what I'm saying. If you decide to continue to do this, and you go out here on these little stages and do all this other stuff, you go straight to the hood, man. Go get you 40 to 50 of them cats standing around on the blocks, on the corners, and you had them protect you. Because I guarantee you, that would have never happened. Because as paranoid as the cats in the hood are, that dude would have never got up on that roof. I promise you. Don't let these people protect you because they didn't want you out there in office in the first place. So you know what? Just a little bit of advice from a little brother from the hood. If you ever come to Washington State, you want somebody up there, man, with you to protect you, give me a call, man. Hit me up on TikTok, bro. I'll be more than happy to stand up there for you. You dig? Just my opinion. God bless.
I mean, you can't. I love it. I just absolutely friggin' love it. Who put this up? Oh, yeah. Many have expressed the desire for Tucker Carlson to become the press secretary. Can you imagine that? How incredible that would be. I mean, there's other people that would be great, and we've had so many. McInerney was awesome. The chick that's now governor, she was super good, right? But Tucker Carlson, that would be incredible. I don't know. I hope he's considering it. We'll see. Reminder to everybody, former Trump advisor Peter Navarro is being released from prison today, the 17th. He is out. He's got a new book out, too, if you guys want to try to support him in any way, shape, or form. But you know this dude's out. He's seeing red, and he's ready. He's ready and willing to go after these deep state thugs. Let's enjoy that. Let's enjoy that trip and journey together, huh? Bill Malogan put this out. New. Per newly released CBP data, just under 4 195,000 migrants have flown into the U.S. and have been paroled into the country via the Biden admin's controversial CHNV mass parole program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans since the program first started in late 2022 and early 2023. Well, half of those countries are friggin' communists, which is kind of freaky. Literally flying them in. And it's not even sure it's legal. But while we're trying to work it through the courts, he's already managed to get 500,000 of these people into the country. And they don't even count in the official numbers because they didn't come through a port of entry. They didn't come in through the border. This is cheating the system. So this recent DHS Inspector General report found that no DHS component agency has been tracking expiration of parole grants, and ICE will not have the manpower or resources to find and deport those who end up overstaying and becoming unlawfully in the United States. Up to 30,000 migrants per month are being paroled into the U.S. by the Biden administration via the CHNV program, which has survived Republican challenges in court so far. We'll continue to see. Biden was talking about the Summer of Love riots.
And you peacefully protested George Floyd's murder. Donald Trump called for the National Guard to go after you. What in the hell's the matter with this man?
Peaceful protest burned down multiple cities, multiple buildings, multiple cop cars, caused enormous amounts of damage, and they yet still call them peaceful protests. My favorite part of this, all my still left-leaning friends, again, I'll own January 6th all day long. So long as you own all the damage and destruction that's been done on countless of these peaceful protests. You can keep calling them that, that's fine. Let's just acknowledge the fact that you guys, during your peaceful protests, burn things down, injure people, vandalize, just to name a few of the things you do. So you guys own that, and I'll own January 6th, which is actually mostly being overturned right now because you guys are using the law against us. Not to mention there was so many weird things that happened that day. Not proud of how some of this stuff behaved, sure, but I'll own that happily over what's going on. It just scared you guys because there was so many of us. Federal prosecutors are dropping charges for some individuals involved in the January 6th Capitol protests, as I was just hinting, particularly those accused of obstructing the certification of the 2020 election results. Supreme Court's already ruled on that. Literally, they're having to release all of the people that were only charged with that. Now, I'm sure they're trying to come up with some sort of mischievous trespassing or some sort of trespassing with intent to kill or some crazy made-up thing. But ultimately, if they just call it trespassing, these guys have probably already done time served. So they're done. Deep State's done. This prosecution of political prisoners is ending. We are taking back this country. Biden set to announce support for major Supreme Court changes. There's no way this gets through law. We'll see how they try to play it out, but this ain't happening. But Biden is finalizing plans to endorse major changes to the Supreme Court in the coming weeks, including proposals for legislation to establish term limits for the justices and an enforceable ethics code, according to two people briefed on the plans. See, this is funny how balance of power is supposed to work, and what they're trying to do isn't legal. But they're, of course, one, trying to do the illegal, not a surprise to anybody. Two, demonstrating how much it bothers them when law and order actually happen, and it doesn't happen in their favor the way they're used to manipulating law and order. You know, the way lawfare typically works for them. When they're not successful with the lawfare, now we've got to change it further so we can continue to be successful with lawfare. This is what the Democrats are calling democracy. This is what they're so afraid of that we're coming to take from them. And we are coming to take that from you. You are not allowed to do that. We shouldn't be allowed to do it to you. You sure as hell aren't allowed to do it to us. It's done. You guys can freak out. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. You guys have been using the law against people to try to further your power and control over others. That's all it is. Most of the left's platform has to do with mandating behavior, mandating speech, mandating other people, which is control and power. And the Dems love it. But it is not legal. The Constitution forbids it, and that is why we're a constitutional republic and not a democracy. So, we have constitutions for a reason. And even within the states, we have constitutions. So I believe even in the state levels, we are a democracy for the most part, but you still 51% can't say that all white people in the state of California have to say sir to anybody that's not white, right? Like, or ask their pronouns. Like, they can't do that. It's not legal. We have rights. So they're weighing on whether to call for constitutional amendments to eliminate broad immunity for presidents, and like they're trying to literally undo all the stuff where they've been attacking Trump, and really weak attacks to begin with. Now they're trying to undo all that desperately. We've got to find ways to pass laws so we can actually do this. They're insane. And they're just making it easier for this transition to occur. Again, a movie. It's definitely playing out. Donald Trump truth. The radical left Democrats are desperately trying to play the ref by calling for an illegal and unconstitutional attack on our sacred United States Supreme Court. The reason that these communists are so despondent is that their unlawful witch hunts are failing everywhere. The Democrats are attempting to interfere in the presidential election and destroy our justice system by attacking their political opponent, me, and our honorable Supreme Court. We have to fight for our fair and independent courts and protect our country. MAGA 2024. We also have to protect our wealth. Folks, I don't know about this system. We don't know how long it's going to go. That much is for sure. But everything's falling apart around the deep state's ears and eyes. So other aspects are likely going to come down with it, especially as some of these things start to get exposed. You don't want to be behind the curve. And this is not one of those things. And I'm not trying to rush you. You got to make your decisions. If you got a 401k or an IRA, you probably should be listening very closely. Because here's how it's going to play out. If you're one of the people that thinks you're going to be able to see some sort of hint that this is coming and then you'll do it, you are definitely not going to get it done in time. I promise you. I promise you. It will be after the crash. You'll wake up and be like, oh, crap. Yeah. So this is one of those things where you kind of have to see the writing on the wall, and you have to realize, I don't know how far away it is, because, really big things, you can see them from really far away. And smaller things, they got to be really close before you see them. This thing's been on the wall for a very long time. This will be big, be huge, most likely. And we don't know when and where. You do not want to try to time it. Trust me, the little bit of extra that you might maximize ain't worth it, ain't worth the risk, and ain't worth the trouble. You're going to be watching it every day, watching it every second of the day? No, it's not how it's going to play out. It's not going to work out. You are sitting pretty much at the top right now. Maybe it goes up a teeny bit more. Maybe it goes down. Who knows? But you're sitting, the dollar is losing value every day with inflation, and the stock prices are not really going up a huge amount. Stock's been reasonably flat, and it's doing okay, whatever. Right now is the time. Prices of gold and silver are up and are kind of going up, but they're not huge yet. They're not as big as we know they're getting to. Gold's also outperforming all other assets, with the exception of Bitcoin. All other assets, property and real estate, any of the stocks at all, any of the currencies that exist out there, they are destroying it. 45% plus, meaning your buying power is actually going up by 45%. So not only is the price going up, because it has to deal with inflation, but it's going up so much that it's actually giving you additional buying power. So you're making money on it. You're making wealth on it. It's one of the most solid investments that's out there right now, especially as this transition goes. I would not wait any longer. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let my good friends at Goldco help you through this paperwork process. It is a process. There's a lot to it. You're actually getting physical gold. You can do it tax-free and penalty-free. The physical gold is placed into a trust, so that's how that kind of works. But tax-free, penalty-free, you can get out of their system, Fidelity or whoever you're in with, get out of their system and right into precious metals, which are performing incredibly well. And then after everything's said and done, after the change happens, after we start having treasury notes or whatever happens, then we can liquidate back into the new system. And you're going to be sitting at higher wealth. You're going to be sitting at a very good place, better than most. Take advantage of this. Do not wait. The opportunity, I don't know how long. You got to figure the election's in there, and they do not want this. Trump's not going to let the economy crash, that's for sure. But we need the deep state to come down. So maybe this is controlled demolition. We'll see. Be out in front of it. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. And they are definitely trying to do exactly that. All right, Dems have some concerns right now. First off, just to start on the simple part, 2 Democrat Pennsylvania State House representatives are resigning. They're resigning on September 17th. Oh, sorry. No, they're resigning like immediately, basically. And September 17th is when the special election will happen. In the meantime, and this does kind of demonstrate some of the questions I've had, but in the meantime, that means the Republicans now have a small majority, 101 to 100. So for a short period of time, the Republicans in the Pennsylvania Senate have a chance to maybe fix some of the voting crap. Just throwing that out there. See if you guys can pull that off. Here's CNN talking about how Trump could be seriously sitting at 330 over 170 or whatever it works out to. Trump's in a very strong position right now. And this guy spends a couple minutes, or well, a minute plus, talking about it.
Look at the map right now. That gets Donald Trump to 303. And there's new polling today that shows the president's approval rating in these battleground states is below 40. The president's ballot number right now is below 40 in most of those states, and it's at 42 in Nevada. It's very hard in 16 weeks. We count the votes 16 weeks from tonight to turn that around. Plus, Democrats are now worried. They think, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what they're saying is the president's going to have to spend more time and more resources on places like Virginia because it's competitive, on places like New Hampshire because it's competitive. You look at this map as it plays out, and there are Democrats making the case, and we have Wisconsin blue here. Let's move Wisconsin over here. There are Democrats making the case that Donald Trump is on a viable path as of today to get to 330 electoral votes, Wolf, or even higher, because they see other states in here. The Trump campaign says Minnesota. The Trump campaign says maybe New Mexico. Let's be cautious. Those are blue states traditionally, but the president's standing, his approval rating, his ballot number, people's views about how old he is, and people who view the state of the economy are very bad for the president right now. And so even if you just go back to where we start, Donald Trump is in command. The numbers are getting worse for the president, Wolf, and Donald Trump has an opportunity with this convention to build it even more.
Not just the convention, but the fact that he was shot and then shows up out there. Joe Biden can't even work longer than 6 hours a day, and that's probably with an hour-long lunch. Biden got shot in the head, and already very next day, he's out on the campaign trail again. Dude, the dude's a rock star, and Biden is nothing. He's a nothing. Here's some more Dems starting to acknowledge and accept what's really happening. I think this is also CNN.
I actually don't believe, and I may be in a minority here, but I don't believe that Donald Trump is going to get a huge bounce out of this because there simply aren't undecided voters at this point. It's the reason why he didn't get a bounce out of Joe Biden's performance in the debate, and Biden didn't get a bounce out of Trump's convictions, 34 felony counts. The impact is going to be on turnout. Every Trump supporter will become a Trump voter in November, and you simply don't have that intensity, that drive among Biden supporters to come to the polls. Therefore, this will be worth between 1% and 2%, and that's enough with Trump already in the lead. That's enough for him to win those key swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. He only needs one of them to win the election.
And that's how it's playing out, and it's still a ways to go. There's still a bunch of shit show to come. There is. It almost has to, based off of how the movie's playing out. There has to be more because we're still not quite there. We're close, really close, but not quite. There's a Black Swan event coming, or some other really salacious cover-up stuff that's going to be released. All the above, who knows? Going to be exciting. Formerly Hillary Clinton campaign spokesperson Karen Finney blasted the Democratic Party for acting so afraid that they will lose the presidential election, stating that the attitude could be self-fulfilling prophecy in November. Yeah, she says the people are picking up on this fear. They can feel it. She's right. There is a major fear that's going on. Biden held disastrous, rambling Zoom call with Democratic lawmakers and lost his train of thought multiple times, with 50 were ready to dump him an hour before Trump was shot. An hour before. He was trying to solidify things, probably because he had an idea what was coming. Maybe. Again, would you tell Biden? Probably not. But because he's stupid and he'd probably say something. Yeah, they were about to dump his ass already. We got new congressional Democrats are circulating a letter obtained by NBC News that asks the DNC to delay the virtual roll call to select the nominee. Two sources tell NBC News that there are more than 20 signatures on this effort thus far, and that they are representative of the members who have taken a range of stances so far on Biden's future in the party. People are definitely bailing on him. Nearly two-thirds of Democrats want Biden to withdraw This new AP NORC poll finds nearly 2/3 of Democrats that responded to an AP NORC poll, which is very left-leaning, 2/3 of them want him to drop. I would assume most progressives are definitely against Biden because he's just not done what they want him to do. So most of the progressives are definitely against him, which is fine. That's good because they don't have anyone else to vote for. Maybe RNC, right, or RFK Jr., maybe, or that I don't know who else they'd go for, frankly. But Biden's not going to get their vote. And how many of the normal Democrats are actually bailing on Biden right now? Think about his whole world is crumbling around him. Crumbling. Biden said in a new interview that he would consider dropping out if he was diagnosed with a medical condition by doctors, giving his clearest sign yet of faltering in his insistence he will seek a second term. He's starting to open up the doorway for him to get out. That's what it is to me. That's what I read into this. He has now offered us the blueprint for how they're going to pull him out. It's the only way he's willing to do it and save face. So he's going to have a medical problem, whatever it is. Maybe, I'm joking, but maybe he craps his pants like just live TV. Probably not. It'd be funny as hell. Kind of. I mean, it'd be gross too, but I could go for some gross right now just to make things funnier. I'm up for that. All right, so Cheetos. It was a nickname that has now been given to Cheetle by, I think it was Elon Musk. I might have the slide. I'm pretty sure I do. But he called her Cheetos, and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. I love disrespectful nicknames a lot. Like Jumanji is still one of my favorites. And Pete Buttigieg, he's probably also one of my favorites right now. He seems to be reasonably popular. There's a lot of people that like me to do the Pete every once in a while. Every once in a while, you know, you got to keep people wanting. I'd suddenly put this out. I think we should open this up over here. It's awfully tiny. But this is curious, and Tori says shared this. I'm very, just, again, love the work she does. Soon-to-be unmasked entities bet that President Biden's Donald J. Trump stock would plummet one day before the assassination attempt. A bunch of people bet on shorts. The shorts against Truth Social stock more than doubled from July 1st to July 12th, meaning people or large organizations were predicting that by Monday, the stock would plummet, something that undoubtedly would have occurred had President Trump died in Pennsylvania. This could mean someone had foreknowledge of the plot against President Trump's life and tried to profit off the coming calamity. Oh, I'd love to know if Nancy Pelosi had bought some of that short stock that day. And again, as they point out, we need to know who these people were. Undoubtedly. This also happened on 9/11, by the way, where bets were placed against the stocks of major airline companies, American and United, a day before the attack. An investigation showed that in both cases, a single entity and a well-placed insider newsletter tipped off investors to miraculously bet against the top two airlines in the USA, who took a major hit after the hijacking. This is 100% deep state, folks. It's how they roll. They usually get rich off these moments in time. I guess why wouldn't you take advantage of it? Charlie Kirk posted this. Unbelievable. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle now admits that the USSS knew the building 125 yards from President Trump was a huge vulnerability, but didn't station an agent there because it had a sloped roof. Sloped roof. That building in particular had a sloped roof. Oh my God. And Elon Musk said Director Cheetos needs to be fired immediately. What an idiot. Sloped roof. Because, you know, snipers can't handle sloped roof. It would be dangerous. Dangerous, I say. Elon Musk posted this meme. Biggest, baddest, highest budget security agency on the planet. Some little pink thing, slightly sloped roof. Oh, no, I'm scared of you. Interesting right here. Because here's a cow handling a sloped roof. Just saying. Here's a cow walking on a sloped roof. This is a fucking animal that's not very intelligent, but damn delicious. And considered sacred in India, by the way. So, you know, if any Indian fans are watching me, cows are great. I hope he's safe. All said, a cow is walking on a sloped roof. Cheetos. What do you think about that? That's interesting. Wonder how they figured out how to walk on a roof. It's so difficult. So Elon Musk posted this. So here's the situation. Much later in a day, only October. Let's see, it doesn't help to open this up. I tried. It really bummed me out. I couldn't get a better view of this. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Kind of. Much later in the day, only cops here, right? So here's the dead dude. He was right here, right? Here's his gun's still here, so this is probably roughly where he got shot. I don't know. Or if he was sloped out and whatever. So here's his gun. Here's him. Here's the SWAT ladder. That was the one we pointed out, by the way. So the SWAT ladder is what that ladder was. So apparently they peeked up there a few times. And here's the shooter's ladder. Over here by the door. Are you kidding me? By the door. This is supposedly where the cops were stationed. And this dude walked in. That's just incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Now here's Dan Bongino talking with, I think a couple of the Trump guys were there. I feel like I'm missing somebody. But yeah, anyway, you'll figure it out. But here's Dan Bongino kind of pointing out some extra stuff he's been hearing. He used to be Secret Service, so I very much like hearing his opinion right now. Oops.
So I was just showing Tucker some material from an unimpeachable source, let's just say, on the matter. That post, according to my source, that roof was supposed to be a police post. It was supposed to be someone there. They're now making up excuses, saying the pitch of the roof. My source says to me no one knows why the post didn't show up. But so that's a nonsense story they're putting out in the media. And I was also told that the Secret Service director has been given instructions from the administration and the DHS secretary. If you want to keep your job, you'll keep your mouth shut about this. They're not putting that out there, but if you get those site post logs and those police instructions and there was a post on there and they didn't show up and no one checked, someone could have got your dad killed within millimeters.
And that's exactly what we're finding out. This is going to come out. They're going to be in huge, huge trouble. Some unseen footage shows Secret Service and state police scrambling as there was no apparent contingency plan. This literally, they couldn't get through the fence. Talk about poorly planned. Again, this might be kind of a bad on the cops, maybe, because they're the ones that are trying to get through. Secret Service maybe shouldn't have been responsible for this part of it, though the failure of the roof is definitely Secret Service, unquestionably. And the fact that they did not off the shooter or even protect Trump before the shooter had a chance to get off shots. They had him looking through a rangefinder. And we had some talk on 4chan that one of the actual shooters on the roof said, dude, I was trying to get permission for 3 minutes. So things aren't adding up from the deep state's cover-up side of things. And let's blame Mayorkas because he's in charge of the entire group.
Don't forget! Kill that motherfucker! Fucking hit it like you mean it.
No offense, guys, but man, this looks bad. Right? I'm sure there are people in my audience that are boys in blue, and thank you guys, blue line all the way. But come on, really? Really? First off, what was really sad is watching the dude try to drive through the fence, and you got dumb nuts here, this fuckface. I'm assuming he's making a fuckface right now. I don't know for sure. His back's to me, but the way his ears look, pretty sure it's a fuckface. He's standing right by the fence that a guy's about to drive a car through where it would blow open the doors and probably injure him and his other dumbass friend. That's probably the person he's making the fuckface look at, right? And he's possibly doing one back at him. Literally standing. I don't know, guys. I'm just saying so many things don't add up. Thomas Crooks pictured 1 hour before he shot Trump. Sniper identified gunman acting suspiciously, checking his cell phone and a rangefinder at the rally when they took this photo. The dude was literally looking like up at roofs and stuff, had a rangefinder, and I think a backpack maybe, but also we're going to talk about the end. He's, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Demolition Ranch on YouTube. It's an awesome channel. Matt is funny as hell. I love the way at the end he finishes it all. I love you guys. Dude is just an awesome dude. He's wearing one of their merch shirts. So I want to play the video at the end of Matt just being bummed. And for good reason. I hope I have that here. I think I do. Yeah, cool. So yeah, We have a major issue there. That's amazing. I clicked the right tab. It's whatever. Wow. I mean, I shouldn't have clicked over. I realized that the second I did it, I was like, oh, you're going to lose your spot. Oh, I lucked out. Thomas Crook's cell phone was pictured alongside a remote transmitter and his dead body atop a manufacturing plant. So here's the thing that's interesting. One, the phone, great. Two, this little remote is what we're calling it. He had explosives in his car. Many are saying they were likely tied to this. This dude, Crooks, asked his boss he needed Saturday off because he had something he had to do. Expected to be back to work on Sunday. Literally told him. Maybe that was just, what he was saying, because like you're going to be like, yeah, and I'll probably be dead tomorrow. Like, I don't know, you probably wouldn't finish off your time off request that way. Might just say, I'm going to be dead tomorrow, so what's the point of showing up? Whatever the case is, my suspicion is this dude thought that he would use the explosive, blow up his van, and that would be the thing that would allow him a distraction so he could get off the roof once he made his successful shot. My thinking process. This guy is 20 years old. I don't know how much planning has gone into it and how much was just implanted thoughts into his head and him being like, yeah, totally, I could pull this off. Whatever the case was, I don't think he ever had a chance of surviving this, and he didn't. So I guess they had to cover Sunday. That's a bummer. Eric Trump talks about his reaction to the shooting, about his reaction to the team, and specifically, by the way, and I saw a lot of posts that really bothered me. I didn't share any of them because I thought they were really, I want to say sexist a little bit. Whatever the case is, the woman being so short and she couldn't possibly cover, sure, and she couldn't probably carry Trump. That's for damn sure. I don't think anybody could. Trump's a big guy. You'd need 2 or 3 or 4 people to carry his ass anyway, and as it turned out, that's basically what they did. But he mentions her specifically, and I thought that was actually kind of cool. Again, would I prefer to have a bunch of giant burly dudes around me? For sure, no question about it. But I don't know, whatever the case is. A lot of people were beating her up, and I know there's one chick that had a hard time holstering her weapon too. I've seen a lot of videos. I've seen, I don't know, I just have a hard time kind of going after individuals like that. I feel like that's really effed up. Anyway, I'm on a side tangent that doesn't need to be. All said, here's Eric Trump talking about it.
What happened on Saturday was scary. How are you doing?
It's beyond scary. Beyond scary. It should have never been allowed to happen. I mean, I was telling you before, but I was there with my 6-year-old child, my 6-year-old son, my 4-year-old daughter, and Laura, my wife, and we're sitting there watching it on TV, and then all of a sudden you hear the gunshots rain out, your heart sinks, and I've done a lot of competitive shooting. I know the world very, very well, and there's no mistaking what those were, and then you see him on the ground, and you clearly saw that he got hit. He grabbed the side of his face, and you're just thinking of the worst, and they were on the ground for, 45 seconds, 60 seconds, and it felt like an eternity, and then you see him get up and you see the blood on the side of his face. I mean, we almost witnessed the assassination of a former president and probably a future president on live TV. And, not only would it be devastating to me as a son, I mean, there's no one in the world I love more, but think about how that's devastating to a nation. I mean, civil wars have broken out for less than that. And also just think about our posture on the world stage, having, our leaders get executed by maniacs on top of roofs. It can't happen in the United States of America.
How do you feel about the Secret Service?
So I know all those agents on stage, and they're the greatest people ever. In fact, the female that's in the picture, she was with me for a very long time, and she's one of the greatest human beings you'll ever meet. I would do anything for her, and I'd do anything for her. I'm telling you, Katie, they're the greatest people ever. And every single one of those people would have taken a bullet for him that day, and they did. They jumped in, and I don't put any of this on them. In fact, I laud them for their courageousness and being heroes that day, because they could have gotten killed as well. They easily could have gotten. Those bullets were flying over them just as closely as they were flying over my father. At the same time, they moved with him to a location, right? That location's already secure. Whatever happened in terms of the setup of that location, whoever allowed a rooftop that large to be unsecure at 130 yards, whoever allowed a madman to crawl up on that rooftop with a rifle, there are real questions to be answered, and it hurts my soul because, again, I know the dedication of the Secret Service. I know those people intimately. I know their family. I know and these are some of the finest people you'll ever meet, and they would have taken a bullet for them, and they almost did that day. But there was some breakdown outside of his ecosystem. There was some breakdown, and they better get to the bottom of it.
Very clearly.
Kind of like the Uvalde shooting, right? Like, they just have a weird knack of doing a bunch of weird stuff the day of these tragic events. So for any of the people out there saying, Dan, are you actually saying that Cheetos or possibly Mayorkas were directly involved? Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm suggesting. They did it probably through a subordinate or whatever. But I do definitely think this rolled up. I do think there was requests to take out the shooter, and I think there was plausible deniabilities for why they were not able to give a response quickly. That was already expected, is my guess. But they're going to get caught. CNN posted this: Secret Service ramped up security after intel of Iranian plot to assassinate Trump. So now we've apparently got this. The Iranians were planning on, killing Trump. They just admitted somewhere that was no, we didn't. They're at some World World Economic, whatever, I don't know, something out in Europe, and they're like, no, it wasn't us. We didn't do it. Of course, that's what everyone says, anyways. But I'm surprised we didn't blame it on Russia. But then again, they'd have a hard time saying that Trump and Russia, or Trump and Putin, right? So it couldn't be Russia's fault this time. Again, it's just this deep state, folks. It's 100% deep state. This is almost how you know it's deep state, because of all the bullshit that's coming out, of all the lies that are being told, of all the things they're trying to cover up. Secret Service media interview, but no congressional briefing. The GOP committee is going to issue a subpoena for Director Cheadle on July 22nd. Quote, to head off any attempt by DHS to backtrack on her appearance, the chairman will issue a subpoena for her to attend. Basically saying, look, Mayorkas, we've already impeached you. We know the kind of shenanigans you will do, and we know they would use you as a fall guy because you're already toast. So why not finish it and just make you dark black toast? So, yeah, they're taking him out of the equation so he can't stop them from interviewing Cheetos. Ezra Cohen posted this: unfortunately, my fears about how public will view the conduct of this investigation are coming true. We are headed for decades of distrust if Congress does not quickly establish a fully independent and transparent investigation of the attack. If we have learned anything from the assassination of President Kennedy, it is that we must have a transparent and independent investigation for the good of our country. And literally, that was another time that ripped this country apart, to the best of my understanding. I was not alive at the time. Where did the intel community update their definition election interference to include assassinations after the 2020 midterms? Why is the question, I should say, instead of whatever the hell word I said. But they literally changed it down here. Foreign threats to 2022 U.S. elections. For the purpose of this assessment, election interference includes efforts aimed at degrading or disrupting targets' ability, yada, 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 poll workers or polling places, and assassinations or military or security interventions affecting an election. They added this in 2022. Why? That's kind of strange, isn't it? Why did they add that? Why did they make that update? Biden uses President Trump's assassination attempt as an excuse to call for gun control. Just, again, figures.
An AR-15 was used in the shooting of Donald Trump, just as it was an assault weapon that killed so many others, including children. It's time to outlaw them.
This is what I was saying outside the shoes. Whatever. Here's the funny thing. Joe Biden, can we outlaw assassinations? How about we start there? Huh? Can we do that? Because you're already not supposed to shoot people, best of my understanding. So, and that wouldn't have stopped anything, by the way. That's the other funny thing. Any Democrat that's out there that actually thinks, well, you guys shoot each other because of guns. Dude, you guys still have violence and killing in Europe, by the way, where there's no guns, right? All these places with no guns. You still have idiots that kill people, okay? So what guns do is they give law-abiding citizens a fighting chance to defend themselves. You see, you're not going to go try to throw a stone at somebody if you know they have a gun. That's one of the things guns do. They create sort of a level playing field. And that's something that none of you guys have in all these places that have gotten rid of your weapons. You guys are stupid, by the way, in my opinion. No offense, I'm not trying to say you're stupid. It's just the fact that you think somehow I'm going to go ahead and trust the government to make sure I'm safe is asinine. How many times have things gone wrong and it took a little while for help to get there? Too late, in fact, oftentimes. Oh, it's silly. We just don't work like that here in this country. Maybe hard for other people to understand. I get it. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But to me, it's silly. All these people that are like, you guys still have guns. Just like you guys are some mighty bunch. You know, like you guys are silly getting rid of your guns. It's not smart. Biden administration launches investigation into the Secret Service after massive security failure. So Biden's going to look into this. Does that make any of you feel better? Any of you? Well, if they got some Dems in there that are pro-Biden, maybe. I don't know why you're here. Maybe the 18 people that hit the thumbs down. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know why you'd watch the whole thing, though. Just seems strange. Biden administration launches an investigation. So we're supposed to feel better about that. Cash Patel's talking about this pretty long. I'm going to put it at 1.2, but it's actually very good. I think it's worth to hear. Check it out.
How did what happened this weekend happen? How is that allowed?
And I wish we were catching up on different
exactly.
It's in different settings, but this is the reality. I mean, the reality is the president of the United States, your father, they didn't shoot at him, they shot and hit him at a rally for the presidency of the United States of America in 2024, not 1824. And how that happens is a systemic failure, but I also don't want to be the guy that gets ahead of a righteous investigation.
Correct.
I want to know what happened. I wrote an op-ed in Outkick today saying the stages and steps that Congress and Republicans take to actually allow for an investigation. Are we really going to rely on the FBI and DOJ?
Well, that's the thing.
Who framed your dad?
Someone asked me that earlier today in another interview. They're like, well, would you trust the FBI? I go, would I trust the FBI? How about, that would be the last agency I'd ever trust to do this right. I mean, these are people that call, concerned parents at PTA meetings domestic terrorists, because that's what they actually think. Not all the door kickers. I get that.
Yeah.
But they're arresting guys who are Amish farmers who sell unpasteurized milk rather than going after, actual bad guys. So, what needs to get done there? How do you form that kind of committee? How do you do it in a reasonable amount of time?
Yeah.
And how do you stop them from lying to the American people about it?
Look, it's really simple. We have to remind Congress that they are a coordinate, co-equal branch of government. They are not subservient to the FBI and DOJ. Actually, per the Constitution, the DOJ and FBI report to Congress and the House of Representatives. So what you do is you get the Speaker to stand up an immediate special committee and not bend the knee to Merrick Garland and Chris Wray, like they have with the subpoena for Joe Biden's videotapes. They've ceded that ground. They can immediately issue document requests. And also, what we have now is a public will to find out how a president of the United States who's running again for president of the United States was shot. That has never happened before. That can pierce through every animosity in Washington, D.C. It can be a unifying factor to discover the truth. But if House Republicans just want cheap headlines and want to do interviews, we're never going to find out the truth. I think the American people deserve the truth. That's what the op-ed's about. And I also offered, I would run it for them for free if they wanted to.
I would love to see that. Do you think there's a chance that happens?
I offered it.
Yeah, because when I first got the news, right, it was 90 minutes before I found out anything about what actually happened. I mean, I got a call. Kim called me. She's like, "Your dad's been shot." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, I need more than that. At that time, I was. But then, so I'm going through it. You start seeing the video. I'm like, okay, well, it must have been someone from 1,000 yards out or something like that, and maybe that explains.
Well, you're a hunter. You know this well.
Well, I come from a competitive shooting background.
Yeah.
I've had a Secret Service detail. I've been around my father's day. Then I'm like, the shooter was at 140 yards. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. And these are questions that have to be asked of not just Secret Service.
That's
and
not being conspiratorially.
No.
It's like, that doesn't happen.
No. How does he get on that building? Who lacked in the ability to see that and to surveil that situation? And then also there needs to be internal accountability in terms of, we now know, and you and I both know this from being on the inside, that there had been repeated requests for augmented protection for your father for years. Not weeks, years.
Years. And now he's the presumptive nominee.
Right.
Or he was then. I mean,
he was at the time
he was really since January, frankly. But
right.
But that's also a time where things automatically get stepped up, and it doesn't feel like they did.
No, they didn't. They don't have it now. They do have it for RFK, obviously. Yeah. But they didn't for your father because it was a political decision, I believe, by DHS leadership and Secret Service leadership to say, we're not going to do that for your father. And you can only cover so much ground with only so many manning power, right? You can have if you have 10 Secret Service agents, it's only so much you can do. If you only have access to so many local authorities and cops, there's only so much you can do. It is a massive lift to protect the president of the United States and move him around the country, especially when your father receives the attention that he does. And the galvanizing force that he is. They knew that. They put in the request. My major hurdle that I want to overcome is why and who specifically declined it. Now, the Secret Service came out with a statement. They said, that's the lie. Okay, well, having been in government and you having been around it, you know this very much. If the Secret Service put in a detail request augmentation, it's been papered. That document exists. Somebody looked at it. It's not that hard to go find it. And that's what Congress has to do, and not to come out with a political answer, but to show America that document, to show them who continues to lie and weaponize justice, especially at the expense of your father's personal well-being.
What are you seeing around the floor here over the last couple of days at the RNC?
I mean, I've never done one of these, so I'm new here.
First timer.
Yeah, first timer. So what I saw was people across all political spectrums enter the RNC this week for your father. And what I saw in the arena last night when me and the state of Nevada committed all our delegates to him was this unifying power that I had seen before, but that witnessing it firsthand in that level of capacity, and then when your father walked into the arena, I mean, forget the UFC fights that he walked into.
I checked myself on Twitter. People are like, Doug Jr. looks like he's tearing. I'm like, I wasn't crying. I was allergies.
Yeah, I looked down too. I was like, no.
There's no tears.
I got a bug.
No tears.
No, it's emotional, and it should be. And that's, I think, the power that your father has captured across so many different aspects of the country. And that was presented on full display in the speakers last night. I mean, you're talking, you had Teamsters guys there, you had Amber Rose there, you had all these individuals and everyday Americans who are coming out and saying, Latino women there saying, we've never voted for Donald Trump, we voted for Joe Biden, we're all in for President Trump. And it's nothing more than that your father has delivered accountability for the American people, and they are craving it now more than ever.
Yeah, it did feel very different. I remember that. I mean, my first convention was 16, and 20 it was sort of digital and really
COVID.
it was kind of like it was. It's actually hard to sort of give a speech to an empty room, right? But it's 16. I remember. There was still almost like a delegate fight still going on at the convention. He's now become like a dear friend of mine. But Senator Mike Lee and I almost got in a fist fight on the floor. I walked in there yesterday. I was there when my father came in, and I saw something different. I mean, grown men. You'd see them like welling up. Like it was a emotional moment. I think a powerful message of unity. You just felt it. And I think that's a huge change going forward.
And I think the unifying factor is behind the leadership of your father, obviously, but the unifying factor that I'm talking about today is simply the truth. I believe your father has delivered the truth to the American people in all sorts of forms, whether it's internally at government or overseas or across America in private entities. He has shown them the power of the truth. And that is a unifying factor and force that is more powerful than anything else. And there's been only one man I've ever met in government service that can ever wield it, and it's been DJT. And so I think Americans are coming in and saying, he was right. He was unlawfully surveilled. He was right. The election was rigged when they took away the facts from us and talked to us about Hunter Biden's laptop and 51 Intel letter and lied about those two things. He was right. All of these times, and the mainstream media lied about it. And so I think you saw an emotional response to that, to say, people acknowledging internally, we were wronged, we were lied to, we based our decisions on that, and we're not going to let that happen again.
Well, I think a lot of people also saw him come up after being shot.
Amazing.
Defiant in the face of fire, literally.
Everyone
thinks they're a badass, right? Everyone's a tough guy on the internet these days. I think Mike Tyson said it best. Everyone's gotten a little too comfortable talking shit online without someone.
Until you get punched in the face.
You get punched. It's a little different. And yet, that was a moment where I think people were like, you know what? I may not love everything about him. I may not like the mean tweets. I may not, but that's someone who can stand up for America on a world stage. That's someone who can actually bring peace and prosperity. You compare and contrast that to Joe Biden, and it's two very different messages.
No, look, I mean, I went from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs in about a 17-second span. Watching your father get shot, and obviously I'm doing it not as a family member. I can't even imagine what you guys were going through. And then to watch him tell the Secret Service to wait, put his fist up in the air, and say, fight, 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 and have the crowd not disperse.
Yeah.
Chant, USA,
no one
USA,
ran. It's sort of amazing.
There is not a warrior on Earth or in this universe that could do what your father did on that day and come back here to the RNC in person and show up 48 hours later.
I agree. Guys?
It's funny how many people, too, think that was faked. It's like, damn, that's pretty impressive. But, maybe put the blood on himself when he went down. I know a lot of times wounds do not immediately start bleeding always. Sometimes there's this weird, it's just like a white thing, and then it starts to fill in with blood. It's kind of a trip. So, again, a lot of things happened quickly. All that said, we got task force being announced by the Speaker of the House now.
We're going to move quickly. I'll be setting up on Monday a task force, a special task force within the House, and the reason we're going to do it that way is because that is a more precision strike. It goes quicker. There's not a lot of the procedural hurdles, and we'll have subpoena authority for that task force as well. It'll be compiled to Republicans and Democrats to get down to the bottom of this quickly so the American people can get the answers that they deserve. Since the assassination attempt, within hours, I was on the phone with Secretary Mayorkas at Homeland Security. He did not have satisfactory answers at that time. I've since spoken to leaders at the FBI, the Director of National Intelligence. They also there's real questions. Let's just put it that way. The answers have not been forthcoming. I think they're gathering data. We're going to do it as well. We have to have accountability for this. It was inexcusable. Obviously, there were security lapses. You don't have to be a special ops expert to understand that. And we're going to get down to the bottom of it quickly.
Do you think that you...
Yeah, and forgive us, but we do not trust you. Biden, Mayorkas, Cheetos. We don't trust any of you to actually do this properly. Chairman Comer subpoenas Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheeto. Initially, the Secret Service committed to your attendance. Subsequently, however, DHS officials appear to have intervened, and your attendance is now in question. In addition, since DHS's intervention, there have been no meaningful updates or information shared with the committee. The lack of transparency and failure to cooperate with the committee on this pressing matter by the both DHS and Secret Service further calls into question your ability to lead the Secret Service and necessitates the attached subpoena compelling your appearance before the Oversight Committee. It looks as though she's got to show up. Some people were giving this dude a hard time. It's kind of funny. James O'Keefe shared a video, the same video basically, but from a little bit longer past. But what apparently happened is right before the shooting started happening, and these guys were basically almost in line of fire. He asked these two press people to move out of the way, to go in this other area, And so as they started moving, that's when the shots happened. And then he scooched down. He was kind of sitting back behind him. And then the next thing that happened is he was kind of on top of her and one other, it seems, protecting them, it looks like. So, yeah, the dude's just one of the staffers from the media team. The media team. He's not security. He's not Secret Service. He's on the media team. Guy can probably make a wicked-ass thumbnail. Here he is protecting people. Again, it's the type of people that come into this party. These are people that are true Americans, people that speak for the American part of us, the thing that got us to the moon, supposedly, right? I say that only because it's easier to answer. But it's the way we've dealt with ingenuity and having to come up with solutions to tough problems. We do it the American way. It's crazy sometimes, but we get it done, and it works, and it's awesome, and that's what we do. American-made company right here. These guys actually make these battery packs, if you will. You can call it that. It's about 40 pounds. It's a mobile, portable power unit, right? It can charge with solar, and it can charge it. You can get up to 4 solar panels. This thing's great if you live out of an RV or something like that. 4 solar panels. You can charge this thing in 3 hours, which is impressive. It's 1,500 watts continuous. It'll take a 3,000 watt spike. Again, American-made. It's also wrapped in a metal case, which means it's got EMP protection. It's within a Faraday cage. It is an amazing piece of engineering. You got refrigerators at home that you're worried about. The power goes out for more than a few hours, right? You've got to start to worry about stuff like that. It goes out for a long time. If it's wintertime, I guess you can just put shit outside, right? But not in all places. This thing, you can actually plug your refrigerator or two into and run them for hours. You can also charge your laptop numerous times, charge your phone numerous times, charge all sorts of different devices numerous times. You got rechargeable batteries that you use for flashlights and stuff. You can charge things like that. You can run appliances. I've literally run my flat screen TV with it. Amazing what this thing can do. Again, if you're an off-roader, an RV, or that type of person, definitely. If you're someone that prepares for the inevitable, this is a must on your list as well. Fact is, generators are one way to go. And if you got generators, it's awesome. You got plenty of fuel and you got stabilizer in the fuel. That's awesome. But here's one thing, too, to keep in mind. Generators make noise. And sometimes noise is not a good thing. Now, some generators are super quiet. I get that. But noise is not always a good thing. Sometimes it announces other people that you've got something they might want. And that's, again, not a smart move. Solar power doesn't make any noise, and these batteries don't make any noise. Things to keep in mind. But certainly, if you live in a place that has tornadoes and you lose power every once in a while, this is the type of thing you want. You want to be able to pop on your TV and maybe get that local news to see where that weather is, or maybe get your laptop fired back up and hopefully be able to connect. This is how you have guaranteed power. These things are awesome. And again, they're American-made for our military, by the way. The EcoFlow that a lot of you might be familiar with, any of you that have ever looked into these, those are made in China, by the way. Plastic. I've got one. They're not bad. This thing's awesome. It buries it, and it's not made of plastic. It's shielded. It's a much, much better product. You want to go to energytech.com/on-the-fringe. energytech.com/on-the-fringe. Energy spelled with an I-N-E-R-G-Y, and then tech is T-E-K. So energytech.com/on-the-fringe. Use coupon code on-the-fringe. They've actually got a bunch of these. They've got some smaller ones, Flex Tactical, I think 1,000, and a couple different sizes. It'll default you to the 1,500 because it is an awesome piece of work. So if you want to look at some of the different products, just click on the energy word up here, and that'll kind of take you to their home screen. Again, just use coupon code on the fringe when you do checkout, and you're going to be stoked at what you've got. They've got the solar panels, they've got the accessories, they've got a whole lot of really, really cool documentation. This thing is awesome. It's way worth looking into. Go to energytech.com/on-the-fringe. energytech.com/on-the-fringe. Be prepared, because we know the lights are going to go out, sorta, at some point. How long is the question, and how we deal with that is going to be the answer. Doc Connecting Anons put this out. As the Republican National Convention welcomed former President Donald Trump on Monday, dozens of security officers from Deep Blue, California were among those guarding the MAGA leader. Apparently, Gavin Newsom sent 61 officers from the state to help. I don't know where those people were actually working, and part of me would almost wonder, after what just happened, would he instantly trust someone like Gavin Newsom to send him the best and brightest? Or would he possibly assume, oh, the deep state's sending security into my own force? All right, those guys will have parking lot detail And we'll have actual other people working the doors to make sure nobody can get in, right? Like, you're not going to put these guys in anything other than washroom, security. But I mean, again, it was a nice gesture. Here was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the person's name I couldn't remember earlier, that's governor. She had some beautiful words to say. Here's those.
Not even an assassin's bullet could stop him. God Almighty intervened because America is one nation under God, and He is certainly not finished with President Trump.
He is not done with our boy, that is for sure, and he's not done with you, and he's not done with me either. We are all involved in this, by the way, and I want a lot of people to understand that, especially in my audience. Trump is, yes, he's an awesome leader, and we are happy to have an awesome leader. But a leader's nothing without his army of enlightenment. You guys. That's you guys. You guys are the army. You guys are the ones that make the ripples. You guys are the ones that give him the confidence to know that he can move forward because he's got your support. It's a powerful thing. Man was arrested with an AK-47 near the Republican convention in Milwaukee. Now, what's interesting, I don't know if these stories are related. This individual had a pistol brace or something on an AK-47, and he did not have a concealed carry permit. He had it in a backpack. You're not allowed to do that. And all said, yeah, and it was AK on top of that. So, like, if you're an American and you're running, I mean, AK is not a bad platform, don't get me wrong. But if you're an American and you're running around, you probably would typically have an AR platform, or at least the similar one. All said, the dude was supposedly arrested, yet we've got a report of the police supposedly shooting a suspect near the secure zone at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. So apparently somebody may have been armed with a weapon, and they were in a secure area, so they got shot. Like, they're not messing around anymore. There's no ask questions and then shoot. It's, no, we'll shoot first and then figure out if we were right about it. So you do not want to be stupid if you're hanging around out there. Trump campaign announces first event with J.D. Vance is coming up. I kind of think this is cool. They're going to start cruising around together. That's why he painted Vance on the plane, which is kind of funny too. Someone showed the old Trump Pence, right? And if you just remove the PE and replace it with VA, you got the same word. It's kind of funny. It's like my brain keeps seeing that every time I see Vance's name. I want to call him Pence, and that's about the biggest insult I could possibly say to him. And I don't actually want to insult him. That's the problem. If I did, I'd maybe go about it that way. But von der Leyen, she's the commissioner of the EU. She's like the day before their vote, she lost a court case where she hid all this information with the COVID contracts that were made with all the different countries. She was hiding that, wouldn't let anybody see it. Well, the courts finally said, you got to show that, dude. You're wrong. And this was the day before she was supposed to receive her votes to see if she's going to be confirmed as the nomination as the commission president. Hopefully, they say no, because this lady is obviously deep state, and we need Europe to get smart about things too. Interestingly, we're hearing some news, some whisperings, that Ukraine is pursuing a peace plan to end its war with Russia. New York Times is reporting this. I don't know if that's true or not, but they're scared that if Trump comes into play, how this is going to play out. So word on the street is this may be kind of moving forward. And Hungary probably, Orban's been playing a large role in this. So this could even have a lot to do with him. I want to remind you guys that truththread.shop. I finally got a bunch of pictures. Apparently, when Free was out there in New York and doing the event, seems like a whole lot of people showed up. I don't know, it's a good number anyway. 5, 6, 7 people we had pictures of. I got a bunch of pictures, though, of people with the 5G warfare. So I'll get a new collage or montage put up here in a very, very short term to show all of the awesome people that were willing to share pictures with us. Just want to remind you guys, that's one of the cool things about this is if you guys buy some of the merch, again, you're helping the channel for sure. You're helping a family of 4 big time, and you're kind of helping get the word out. And that's the other big part of this. So if you want to be a part of that, and I'd love it if you would, please go to truththread.shop, truththread.shop, easy for you to say. I've got all the 5G warfare stuff there, which is super cool. When you're standing in lines, you're wearing this. People are like, what's 5G warfare? And then you flip around and show them your back, and they're like, all right, hang on, don't go anywhere. It's like, I got to read all this. But yes, there is a lot to be said about what 5G is, and it explains to people you're at 5G part. You're here. So it's a very powerful shirt. There's a lot of different ways and shapes, sizes, and forms that you can get them. You can get them with t-shirts that have room for boobies and t-shirts that don't have room for boobies. I think this one's unisex and this one's the booby one. Whatever the case is. We've got them both. Truththread.shop. Truththread.shop. Of course, we've got the wonderful shirt. I'm wearing this one right now. Look at that. Woo! I'm wearing this one right now. Awesome. Army of Enlightenment. Got the back. I don't think you can see it, but there it is. Yes. Thing's awesome. So you can be a part of the whole Truth Thread shop. You can be part of the actual OTF Army of Enlightenment. We've got some great mugs too. Hats are coming at some point. We're going to figure out how to get something offered up. But whatever the case, I'm at least going to get myself a couple more hats. I'm afraid I'm going to wear these things out, and I have to have my hat. I love my hat. So truththread.shop. We're going to keep expanding. We're keep growing. It takes a little time. A lot of this is being done a little more, rather than having outsourced it all, we're actually kind of buying the equipment and doing it the right way. So this is a fun little endeavor. Like I said, you're helping a family out with their own business and helping the channel, and we're going to try to help everybody out in this process. Be a part of it, please. Be a part of the support for all of us, and this will be fun for everybody. Truththread.shop. Please check it out. Okay, we've got a few more slides to get through. Elon Musk put this out in regards to California State trying to pass that law, and I don't know if it finally went through. I hope it didn't. Where parents actually, the state has more rights over the child than the parents, which is just insane. I think this is being pushed up to the Supreme Court. Elon Musk says this is the final straw because of this law and the many others that preceded it, attacking both families and companies. SpaceX will now move its headquarters from Hawthorne, California to Starbase, Texas. This is a huge hit to California. Big money coming from this, and it's because of the crazy-ass politics that continue to happen. Well done, Musk, and you're looking out for your people, too. I think that's a beautiful thing. Gavin Newsom was posting a slam at Elon Musk, talking about when Elon Musk came, this is something that Donald Trump truthed out, when Elon Musk came to the White House asking me for help on all of his many subsidized projects, whether it's electric cars that don't drive long enough, driverless cars that crash, or rocket ships to nowhere, without which subsidies he'd be worthless, and telling me how he was a big Trump fan and a Republican, I could have said drop to your knees and beg, and he would have done it. Well, you've got Gavin Newsom that said, you bent the knee. And his response back, you never got off your knees. That's pretty awesome. I like that because he went to China and everything else. Gavin Newsom's a pile of shit. And he tricked us, Californians, because we're idiots. Tricked us Californians on the vote to get rid of him. Put this weird checkbox that was counterintuitive, literally counterintuitive, and most people did it wrong. And so he stayed in office, barely. America First Legal put this out. Microsoft's, they've laid off its internal DEI team. This is what we're finding out. So that's huge if that's actually true. And we're also finding that out about John Deere as well. They've opted out of their woke DEI practices. See, a lot of companies are finally waking up, folks. Finally waking up. I'm going to close out with this because it's a little long, 553, but this is Demolition Ranch. Matt, I didn't really ever catch his last name, but Character is his name. He's actually a vet, too. I don't know. He tells us all this stuff. But I don't know. I think he's a sweet dude. His family's really awesome. The crazy shit he does on his channel and at his ranch is friggin' awesome. It's just, he's one of the few YouTube fans. Him and Suspicious Observers are, and then there's a couple cook guys that I follow real closely, like Uncle Roger and couple guys, whatever. That's not what you're asking. All said, there's only a few things over on YouTube that I actually enjoy. He is one of them. So I want to close out with that. See if you guys like it. You can, check it out because he's tripping out that the shooter was actually wearing his merch. And I thought about it. I'm like, if someone did something horrific and they were wearing my OTF shirt or something, yeah, that bothered the crap out of me. It's not like Nike and how they might feel if a dude's wearing Nikes. He talks about all this stuff, but it's a weird time right now, folks. And I love the fact that people are kind of showing who they are, showing their real selves, and really coming out in support of the proper things. We're seeing the separation occur as it should, the wheat from the chaff. It is definitely displaying itself. Keep doing what you guys are doing. You're making a huge difference. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.
I'm sure there will be a lot of people watching this video who do not know me, who are new to this channel, and are just checking in based on recent occurrences. So, for those who are new, for those who do not know me, my name is Matt Carricker. I am a Texas-based YouTuber, and this is my YouTube channel. Demolition Ranch is a firearms-centered channel. I also have Off the Ranch Matt Carricker channel, which is a blog-type channel. And then I'm also a veterinarian, and so I have Vet Ranch, which is a veterinary centered channel. And across the board, across all of my videos, we really don't talk about politics at all. We keep politics out of it. For one, it's not my bread and butter, but also I don't feel the need to impose my political views and beliefs on other people. And so we generally just stay away from the topic of politics. However, we were obviously kind of thrust into the conversation after last weekend. So before I go any further, to the family of the victim who died during the Trump shooting, man, I'm so sorry for your loss. It's terrible, and I hate that happened to him and to you guys. And wishing you guys the best from here. That's the worst. For those who were injured in the shooting as well, wishing you guys a speedy recovery, praying for pain-free recovery for you as well, both physically and mentally. I can't imagine. So, as a lot of you guys know, and we were shocked and confused to find this out, the shooter who tried to assassinate Trump was wearing merch from my channel, wearing a Demolition Ranch t-shirt. And that sucked to see that. Yeah, that was rough. So this t-shirt, we also own a t-shirt company, and it's based out of my hometown right here. And my friends work there, and we make these shirts. We print them here in Texas and ship them all over the world. I've seen my shirts in every continent. I got a picture like 2 weeks ago of a guy wearing my shirt in Antarctica. And so we don't vet the people who buy our shirts, obviously. It'd be impossible to, just like Nike doesn't vet who buys their shoes. I wish I could. I would love to keep people like that from buying, wearing, being associated with that article of clothing. Like, I wish he couldn't get a shirt. But it happened. And I think the difference in, a gunman wearing a pair of Nike shoes and a gunman wearing my t-shirt is this brand is much more personal to me than Nike is to its executives. And so to see my name next to the shooter's name, it sucks. And I wish we could keep that from happening. So no matter what side you're on politically, none of us want violence. This channel was never meant to incite violence or hate. It never has, it isn't, and it never will be a channel that does that. I don't want any violence or hate anywhere around me. I have a wife and little kids. I want them to be safe and secure forever. And the videos I put out, I want to make sure that is the same for everyone who watches my videos, that they aren't in any more danger because of my videos, of course. And I know you guys know that. I have 11 million subscribers who have been watching me for over 10 years and know that I am not that kind of person. This is mostly for the people who are just tuning in to see if I am a guy that is trying to make people do stuff like that. So, I am not. Obviously, I don't have to explain that to you guys who know me, but I feel like I might need to say that for those who don't. This channel is not about violence. This channel will never be, and we never would condone that at all. I hate that. It's a weird deal, and yeah, have news articles calling me, asking for interviews, asking what I know about the shooter, asking if I've ever had any communication with the shooter, if I've ever met him. No, he bought a shirt online, and unfortunately wore it that day. Anyway, wishing the best for everyone affected by this. Obviously, the way I'm affected is nothing compared to the way some people are affected by this. So, not trying to take anything away from them. But, yeah, just kind of letting you guys know. I wanted to tell you guys who know me that we're here. We're still going. And, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's not what we stand for. And it will never be what we stand for. And we're going to keep trucking. When you're watching a CNN article and it says 3 names, the shooters, Trump's, and mine, That was not on my 2024 bingo card. So, yeah, I'm going to end this video. Let's move forward. And thank you guys for listening. Thanks for watching. And most of all, thanks for the support. I love you, and I'll see you next time.